All right, see the recording button?
Cheryl Valerie, staff, discussing 129 Barnhill Road. The owner cleared the wetland in the front of the property around March 7th. We took pictures of it, and he came in with an updated survey showing the new wetland line on it. And we were discussing a restoration plan. And in the meantime, he said he wanted to come and submit a full application to the commission instead of just a restoration plan, because he wanted to expand his driveway. I think to the left, I'm pretty sure, if you can see on the next one. So I just wanted to give you guys a heads up that I think he wants to go ahead with that. So you should be seeing this. I think he wants to make a restoration plan part of his plan to expand his driveway.
You're having communication with him?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This is a totally new thing.
Yep.
Yeah, there was another Barnhill. Yeah.
The boulders in front, remember? Raise the whole.
To be continued.
Right, okay, that's.
Continued. Okay, and I realize I went out of line. Did I go out of line? No. Sorry. What's next?
Now we have 2 Guinea Road. We're starting with Barnhill, right? That was just a notification.
Yes.
224 Guinea Road.
224 Good Road. So this goes back to like 2020. This was on the agenda. I think the last agenda this was actually on was May 26th of 2021. Yes, at that meeting, staff said that the property owner could not be reached, and they were discussing the matter with their attorney. And I'm not sure, they didn't clarify, staff did not clarify on the May 26th meeting of 2021 if the matter was being discussed with the property owner's attorney or town attorney. That's the last communication that we have. After that, the property owner sold the property to a new person. I sent them a letter basically saying, can I come out and take a look at the property and see where we are with things? And this is the updated picture I took yesterday. So it looks to me as if the work was not completed and the plantings weren't put in. And I don't want to speak for the property owner, but basically he said that he hadn't spoken to the old owner in a long time, and he was going to look into it and find out what he could do with it. You know what?
What we were waiting on was an easement agreement.
Right.
That was before the town attorney. That never seemed to progress.
And I don't think an actual permit was given. It was still in the review process. The application was submitted and it was being reviewed, and the commission was looking at it, and there was never actually a resolution and an approval on it.
This was when.
So now the new property owner has inherited the violation.
Correct.
And they knew, hopefully they knew they were inheriting a violation. Or else their real estate agent stinks, just like we've had that many times before in the past.
The way I left it with the property owner is he's trying to speak with the previous property owner to have him resolve it. That's how we left it.
I think the previous property owner was the estate of the.
It's the builder of the house.
Yeah.
And he had prior violations going back.
It was the estate that was trying to clean it up, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, it was a previous property owner. So
we had a lot of discussions on this. I remember that.
I just wanted to give you, again, a heads up that the property owner is going to get back to me probably in the next week or so and let me know what he's planning to do. I think he's talking to his previous property owner. He's probably going to talk to his real estate agent, his attorney, and so that one.
Good.
Now we're on to 70 Hannah Lane.
So this is a property that the owner cleared.
Oh, of course.
And this is actually something I wanted to bring to your attention because to get your opinion. So he cleared the property. Our GIS mapping does not show any wetlands, particularly on the property. But if you go a little further in the plans, especially on page 2, in the 2020 aerial, there is that purple section is the GIS mapping wetlands location. It is a indicator. It is not precise. So we always keep that in mind. when we asked people to get a soil survey. If you look, it's kind of hard to say, but there's a shaded area that it looks like it could be pointed out. This area right here. It looks like that might be a wetland. The wetland line is, again, this is just an indicator. It could be to the right, it could be to the left. We don't know. But he cleared.
When was this cleared?
I saw it, the picture was taken March 20th.
So it was recent, like this
Yes, it's very recent, and this is the lot. This is the,
back lot that was for, it's not a house there, right?
there's nothing there. It was forested, mostly, and then it was just cleared. And there's no application before zoning for anything to be built there as of yet.
How much acreage, how much area was cleared?
A whole lot, basically. I mean, I think maybe some of the perimeter trees might still be there, but the lot's effectively cleared. So the question before the commission, and I sent the property owner a request for voluntary compliance to make sure that there are no wetlands within 100 feet of where he cleared. He, wasn't very happy about that. But, so the question is, should we make sure that he confirms that this is not a wetland? It's not on his property, but wetlands.
Did it look like he was?
Gonna get a wetland soil report?
Did it look like he was in wetlands or within 100 feet?
I think,
Your
well,
professional opinion?
I think that this could be a wetland right here. I think that could be a wetland. I don't know for sure, if this is an indicator. So this line, this purple line could be this way. It could be further that way. We don't
Within
know.
100 feet.
Oh, it's back to, the last page is the same purple blob there.
Correct. Yes. And you can see that little jog in there. So that's what we're talking about. This spot right here. And, looking at the aerial photography, it looks to be some kind of depression or dark area right here.
Right.
And I'm not sure if that's a wetland or not.
It's only been treed. There's been no earthwork there, just tree removal.
Correct. That's the last time I was out there.
There's no building permit for this property. So what else could be done besides cutting down trees without a building permit on a new lot? Is this a building lot? Is this an approved building lot?
Yeah,
Okay, so it's approved building lot, curb cut, all that stuff is already predetermined, right? So what could a whole property owner do on this piece of land without a building permit?
passive recreation.
Like as far as manipulating the property?
No, he cannot stump it. That triggers a permit. Clear cutting in unregulated area is fine.
It's a residential zone. But, there may be some trees, still in the perimeter, but and again, it's up to the commission. But
Well, do you feel do you feel that this property is stabilized or will be within weeks?
there is no erosion controls that I saw at the time I
As far as
inspected
this
it.
ground itself, if I understand, they obviously ran equipment through here because they had a grinder in there to grind up these piles. So track equipment was in there, but is it disturbed enough where we're worried about erosion control towards that wetland?
I haven't actually been on the property. I was on a neighboring property, so I couldn't really say.
And you have contact, you've been in touch with the property owner?
I have spoken with him, yes.
Okay. I would say, obviously, it was in his right to clear a lot. I mean, some people do that just to showcase it. When they want to sell it, like if this was for sale, people don't like to walk through or can't visualize. So he might have done this to showcase it for potential buyers. Unless he's a recent owned buyer, and then he'll be coming for a building permit. I would assume he wouldn't have invested money in cutting down trees if he bought it to build a house. He wasn't planning on building a house. But if he's the property owner trying to sell the lot, he might do this to show it off. So I always say my opinion is that I would just put him on notice that he may need to do erosion control if it shows some type of, if we have some type of issues along the property line.
So if he puts in erosion controls, we're okay.
He can either do it voluntarily
He
or,
needs to, if it's over an acre of clearing, he needs to get a sun erosion control.
plan.
Correct. And we've spoken about that as well.
That is for, even if you're just cutting, not doing
Well, I
earthwork.
guess you can cut trees, but once you dig stumps,
But he said he can't do that without a building permit.
Yeah.
Correct.
He said he's done all he can do without a.
But when you take stumps out, it triggers sediment erosion.
yeah.
But he's saying he can't do that without a building permit.
No, without a zoning permit.
Zoning permit.
Building permit covers the house construction.
But he hasn't stumped.
He needs a zoning permit to
I've
stop.
seen.
Yes, because
Zoning requires.
that triggers the sediment erosion. We want to see.
That would happen automatically unless I would say put on notice that he can't do anything else with the property until he gets his zoning approval, which will require. But if he was being a good neighbor and there started to be an issue, like, meaning like, say this area is disturbed on the downhill side and it's raining and it's not revegetating and there's stuff like rolling down the hill, that he would, in his best interest, to address it. So he doesn't create.
So, okay,
But he doesn't have to do it now. It's if it's happening. You know what I'm saying?
right, okay.
To be determined, yeah.
To be determined, just let them know that if you start causing some problems off property and towards the potential, where we know there's definitely wetlands over there.
Right, for the,
Whether he's 100 feet or not, but if he's going to start to off property or impact the upland review area, he's going to have to take some kind of action or he'll have a violation. But if it happens to be that this ground just is stable, great. No sense in making them more disturbed by putting just erosion control in. It'd be more disturbance. Yeah, that's my opinion. If everybody else agrees or.
Yeah.
we're good? That's it?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Cool.
Okay, now we're on to,
Last one.
well, there's other things on this.
Here, I'm gonna make you the host.
Yeah, I think I have to.
What's that? Wait a second, wait,
I'm gonna try to sign in from here.
are we done with, we in the general discussion now?
Yeah.
Right, so 53 Whispering Pines, I put it under discussion, even though it's a possible modification, but I just wanted you guys to get some more information before we put it on for an actual, modification, like for a regular discussion. There's just a little more information.
Is that what we're doing right now?
Correct,
Marriage right now?
Yeah.
right. These are the pictures that were taken March 30th of the property. And I have some more mapping based on the last two permits. I would just say that there was an approval given in 2015.
Let me just call it out.
Oh, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Now we're in general discussion. Other, this is 53 Whispering Pine Road modification of IWC 2022-6.
Thank you. 2015, they were given a permit to do the work that they were allowed to do in 2022, but the permit lapsed. So there were plans from 2015. I can actually hand out some of those too. Actually, I can do that after you give yours as well. Okay.
Can you make the logo? You made me.
You have to accept it.
I think you made my cell phone the host.
Is it Whispering Pine, is this the one where there was a violation?
Well, there was
You highlighted?
a permit given, and then the fill that was installed seemed to be
Grade was different than?
correct, and, more fill than I think what the commission initially approved.
I'm the host on my phone, so I'm trying to make sure I can share it.
Yeah, just FYI, IT is correcting a situation we have with the laptop. Transferring the ability to use the laptop, it's had technical problems.
Yeah.
They are working on it. We can make you a host here.
Okay.
And Mary's is
I think this is as good as we're gonna get. They can't share it. For the record, my name is Zach Blackburn. I'm a professional landscape architect in the state of Connecticut with Solely Engineering. She also said we're here for 53 Whispering Pines, and with me tonight are Tina and Leo Francis, the homeowners. So in the background, as Cheryl said, in 2015, there was an approval and they started work. It took longer than anticipated. Approval was for a barn. And didn't realize that in 5 years, the permit expires. So when that was recognized in 2022, we came back upon the commission with a new plan, a new survey. Some of the work had been done, some of the fill was put in, and the wetlands would be flagged because it had been 7 years since that had been done the first time. So that plan was approved in 2022, and they've been doing work since then. The barn has been installed as part of that, and additional fill was brought in. So this, as you can see, is the 2022 survey. That was part of the approval. And this, so 2022, and then because additional fill was brought in, we got a survey done in February 28th of this year, so 2 months ago. And that is this grading that you can see here with the barn footprint. And I've done an overlay so that you can see the difference between the 2022 approval and existing conditions. The red is existing conditions. The blue is what was approved in 2022. I don't have a pointer. So we've kind of highlighted the areas in yellow where the additional fill was from the approval in 2022 versus what's out there now. This is the 2022 approved plan with the grading, the 3-1 slope behind the barn. And this is our proposed modified plan, so it's just set on the existing survey that was done at the end of February. That's the real modification is the fill. I'm going to go over it. Obviously, it's still in construction, so there are items on the plan that haven't been completed. I'm going to go through what is still going to be completed but not modified, and then what else, other modifications to do. So when I mentioned there's a silt fence, it's been there since 2015, so it's not in the best shape. The homeowners are happy to replace that in accordance with the plan to repair that. There is a mulch bed. Kind of to the right of the garden there's a little circular area in front of the tree. And the mulch bed that's out there now runs through the garden, the hatched area where it was a compost berm, and then encompasses kind of all where the planting is. So that was on the survey. That would all that mulch would come out because that was not approved. And that's kind of under the area of where they had installed all the approved plantings. The drainage recharge trench, which runs around the barn, and then the pipe would also be installed in accordance with the approved plans. That hasn't been done yet, but it will. Line grading will be completed in the disturbed areas because there are spots where it's just a little bit low and water collects. The compost berm and the garden, we don't want to install right now. So they were proposed to just seed that so that it's stabilized until, they want to go back and install that. There are stockpiles in here, like very small on the right side of the compost trench. You can see one here to the right side of the barn. So that material is on site for fine grading or removed in accordance with the plan. And then the plantings were installed. All of the plantings on the plant list were installed, not in the exact correct locations, but rather than pulling them up and transplanting them, they would prefer to just supplement with additional plantings, or if you approve, to just leave them where they are now. The only change is that the approved trees, the size of the plan was 3 to 3.5 inch caliper. Be done if they couldn't find, so they installed a smaller tree. Yesterday, so you can see the stockpile right there. The stuff in the top right. And this whole area is where the garden would go after the barn, and that would all be stabilized. These are all the plantings that were installed according to the quantities on the plan, but again, the locations have shifted, and that's all the mulch that would be removed. That wasn't on the approved plans. And just some areas where, again, where water's collecting and low spots that would be resolved with shading and stabilization. That covers the proposed work that's still left to be done. Any questions?
Nope. Mary, on this page with the red lines in it,
Yes.
this is the red is the actual existing condition?
Yes. The red is the existing, and then the gray contours are the final to approve.
I gave them a copy of this one that you'd given us for this one.
Yes. So
Yeah,
that's
I gave them a copy of that.
So
for this exhibit.
the area in red is plant. Do you have that one? Could that be up on the with the red lines in it?
Yes.
No, this is like shows the yeah. That one either. This one here. Got like the black heavy
Yes,
shading
the red hatch.
and the red shading.
The red hatch is the mulch, where the planting was done and the mulch was put down.
Okay, and what's in the black is what they were supposed to do but didn't,
Yes, the berm and the gardens.
right? But what about this area, this like directly behind the barn, it's dark black shading, and almost, I thought had to have a water outlet in there with, right.
That'll be installed, so the.
That's not done yet.
No, the
Okay.
trench around the barn and then the pipe that outlets to the back is not installed.
That's another garden that they're gonna plant, that's like a,
The garden's to the left,
well, the farthest point to the top of the page.
top right.
Right.
Right,
Where
that's
that-
the pipe outlet.
The pipe outlet, but what's the shading area around it that,
Sediment, the temporary sediment.
oh, that's a temporary sediment pot, okay.
But all that would be.
Says it right here,
according to
sorry.
the plan. Yeah.
So why was this extra fill brought in? Behind the barn?
So I believe it was just,
I'm going back from my memory, and if it serves me correctly, the property owner said that they were told they needed to bring more fill in beyond the plant.
yes, so from 2022, when that was approved, we gave them a rough estimate of how much more fill needed to come in to get them, sorry, from 2015 to the 2022, of how much more fill needed to come in to be in accordance with the plan that was approved.
Right, but you now have, these grade lines are now pushed farther. I'm assuming that's,
Yeah, so everything in the yellow is a foot. Like the difference in contours right around the building from the 282 is red today to the blue is what was existing in 2022.
You could look at,
more fill was brought in than it was approved.
you could look at C and you could look at B.
C and B?
B, as in boy. That's from the 2015 approval. And you can see where the contour lines were supposed to go into the existing contours. You can see the extent of the wetland that was existing in 2015 in that time.
Right, in 2022, we got a new survey, a new flagging, and all that was part of the 2022.
And the fill had been brought in as part of 2015 approval. And by 2022, the wetland line had changed and the contours had changed.
So when we got the approval in 2022, we requested that it be surveyed and reflagged because it had been 7 years since work commenced. The person who flagged it in 2015 is no longer in business, Cynthia Rabinowitz. So in 2022, we had Jim McManus flag the wetlands and agriculturally surveyed it. That survey and that flagging and the wetland report were all part of the 2022 approval. So it has changed since 2015 more dramatically than this, but that was all documented as part of the 2022 approval. So this is the only change from the approved plans that's being proposed.
And what's the significance of that? What's the volumetric change?
I'm gonna say this is just estimated. I didn't do like a cut fill report, but if you took the area, it was about 100 yards fill.
Okay, then is that,
That's shown in yellow.
what, yeah, is that part of it? Or is that gonna be remedied or are we looking
Well,
to
that's-
leave it in place?
That's what we're looking for a modification for. The barn is in, we think it would cause more disturbance to go in there with equipment and try to pull out that fill. So we'd like to modify it to allow for what has been brought in.
Yeah, I don't think it's a big deal.
Now.
I mean, the marks are pretty close to each other realistically.
Right. I was,
100 yards.
the first presentation I felt like it was a lot more. I'm just trying to look at Plan D to Plan B
Yeah, I think that's.
and see that the grade lines aren't even showing on Plan D.
They're being compared to 2015, and there had been fill between 2015 and 2022, but that was all documented in the 2022 approval. So there is a more drastic difference from original conditions back in 2015. And I think that's where the comparisons were different.
So the yellow parts will be pulled back?
No,
Or
that's what-
how far back are you going to, just pulling the wood chips at the top of the berm off the top of the berm? And the slope will remain,
Yes,
all the fill will remain?
yes, but be stabilized. Seating.
There doesn't seem to be anything there that's a real negative impact to any of this. Maybe I'm missing something, but it doesn't seem to be a large problem.
That's the wetlands, that's the, the wetlands is the part that had on Plan A is the green, right?
Plan A.
The green line?
That's from the Plan A is the 2015 wetland line.
Right. And there's a new wetland line, what you're saying?
Correct. D is the new wetland line.
Yes.
Man, there's so many plans here.
When I did the 2022 approval,
Have you looked at this? It's like,
know, it's a lot of stuff.
the person
so the
who,
wetland, so the D plan is shrunken down?
Correct.
yes, so the person who flagged it in 2015 was no longer in business when we came back after the permit expired in 2022. We had Jim McManus flag it in 2022. And he
So-
had a different,
So on that plan right there, that red line is the
is the 2022 flagged wetland.
that red right there is the,
Yes.
so they've overfilled right to the wetlands edge.
Yes.
And we say that's-
Near the wetlands.
It looks like it's like touching it.
Well, when I walked the property with Mary, the wetland flag, it's hard to say, but it's like touching the yellow on the left was not there. The fill went right up to it. You can see the fill goes right up to, literally to the wetland line.
Right. And
Right.
we're gonna say that's okay to just leave that there?
That's what we're asking.
This.
They don't want to go
Oh,
back in there and pull it out. They'd rather
That is-
just stabilize it.
I mean, how many feet is the difference between the proposed fill and horizontally?
Yeah, like, right, what did we approve? What
I
did?
mean, are we talking about 4 feet or are we talking about 12
Yes,
feet?
so 272, the furthest, on
Yeah.
the right there,
Yeah.
that's about 3 feet difference. We didn't highlight anything that was less than a foot to 2 feet. So that 272 between the red and the blue is about
That's 3 feet.
horizontal.
So which page here depicts the grading plan that was most recently approved? It's 2022, but it stops at
It's
280.
it's kind of a merging of both because they were approved for 2015 and they started it. And then when they came back in 2022,
The 2022, the grade lines stop at 280, and then on the, that's D, and on B, the grade lines go all the way down to like 270. So there's like 10 feet of grade lines not on the most current one, where would you think that's all flat, but not at 280 because the wetland.
right, and
Wow.
and on,
122 is the approved. In the dark, you see the 3-to-1 slope. And then the dashed lines are the existing survey.
Existing condition.
Yes.
right, and the wetland to the 280 mark on D is 30 feet. But with B, it was 60 feet to 280. So I'm not, again, I wasn't here for the 22 approval. I just want the commission to understand the difference and, taking the contours out of it, the plan was, on both of them, the landscaping plan and the berm were always proposed, but the berm, I have, you can see a side view of it on the plans, but it's basically supposed to be on level ground like that. And then it's a buffer between the
now it's
contour.
slope.
It was supposed to be on, at grade, and then the plantings were supposed to be between that, the wetlands was between that berm and the wetlands, so all kind of on the existing grade. And the plantings are at the top of the slope.
I can't figure it out, but on the approved, the most approved plan, or the most recent plan, how far was because we're talking about filling in versus a planting berm. Both are fill in the upland review area, but one of them would have left us a berm. And now you're saying we have one half of the berm, but now it's all filled in all the way up to the
Right.
to the peak.
Right, and that happened, and in the meantime,
How far outside of the berm material to make the planting berm? How far was this filling in supposed to be from the wetlands edge?
This yellow shows the additional.
I understand. Where were they, how close to the wetlands edge were they approved to fill in, meaning like, not the berm that we're talking, the planting berm,
This.
that buffer berm, but the actual fill, like the gross fill where it's kind of just a slope out?
This was a plan you approved in 2022, the grading.
it's D.
D?
D. D's 2022.
Yeah, but D's missing a whole bunch of grade lines. Goes from 280 and there's nothing else after. So
This,
does
so
it,
C shows you the grading in 2022. C,
That's the existing condition.
right, and it changed from 2015. If you compare C and A, that's the
2022 was
difference.
approved.
It was, that's true, right?
C and A, it's,
Like, I feel like the 2015 is confusing things.
Right.
2022 was approved.
It's just that the work was done, the 2015 work was done, and I think that's where
Commission saw it.
they
Submitted a.
That wasn't-
so this
2015 wasn't.
272 grade line on Plan C, right, which touches the wetlands line, the old wetlands line, what's in the black, right? It's the new wetlands. This 272 was approved. 279, which rubs right on the corner of that wetlands. You're saying that was approved?
Yeah, I'm pulling it up.
Okay, so
I don't know why. This blue is what was approved in 2022. This was the survey we submitted in 2022 as part of the approval. So you can see it does go very close to the wetlands. That's what had already been done from 2015 to 2022 and was approved as 2022.
I think I'm starting to understand it now. So, but that wasn't a berm at the time. That was just grading down, right? That was just down gradient to the wetlands.
Yeah,
And the berm came in later. The planting came in later.
right, and that's,
Planting buffer.
yeah, there's no berm.
Oh, the downhill slope. Downhill slope to the wet. So,
It's mulched on the top of the slope, where it's flat rather than actually on.
so it seems like they had permission to fill into the wetland edge.
You're still proposing to do all the plantings,
They've all been installed.
all been installed.
In slightly different places.
At the top of the slope.
You're just looking for an approval of the extra little bit of fill. And you're gonna pull out the wood chips and that, you had a photo of a very steep bank.
Yes.
That's obviously not 3-to-1 slope, right?
No,
That's gonna get pulled back.
but we would like to leave that fill and just stabilize it rather than go over.
Which fill is this?
It's proposed to be 3-to-1?
That's supposed to be 3-to-1.
What was shown, it was shown steeper on the survey in 2022.
Where?
That was approved.
Where? Tell me that one.
Plans here.
But the increase of slope is the overfill area.
That's,
Where it's steeper than
20.
3-to-1 is the area that's been overfilled.
Right,
Correct.
the limits haven't gotten closer to the,
so that spot there, that's not,
yeah, the limits
Yeah,
have
that's-
slightly closer. See, that's the comparison.
Oh,
Page 5 of the,
so you're saying that was approved or that was just done and then it was done and existing in 2022 and we just kind of ignored it because we couldn't see it on the plan.
Right, well, we submitted a survey.
I appreciate your honesty.
We submitted the survey, we were, it said there had been work done for 7 years and we were updating. the same
Well,
condition.
I think in a compromise of allowing the extra fill to stay and seeing how he still has to spread dirt all over the site, which means you're gonna have some kind of equipment there. Okay, I think, in my opinion, let the fill stay, but it's gotta be a 3-to-1. Because what's the difference between the extra disturbance versus the higher than we normally allow slope that would potentially erode, even if it's stabilized or not, right? It's on the edge of a wetlands, which is, no one ever gets permission now to do anything within 25 feet of wetlands, and now we filled right to the edge, right? Which is great for them, they got that. But I think the compromise would be 3-to-1 from the wetlands edge in all ways uphill. And then whatever else could stay, even if they gotta, even if they have to take that fill and move it not closer to the wetlands, but anywhere that's, you know what I mean? Like around this right side of the
Pull
barn.
it back.
They could put it somewhere like up on that, is that a slope starting to go up?
They don't
something.
pull it back from the top of the slope because you
Yeah.
can't get down
No, you can't go further towards the wetland.
That's the
No,
problem.
they have to start at the wetlands edge, come back 3-1, wherever that takes them.
So I have to take the bushes out, all the plantings there.
Wait, it's already, that area's already planted?
Yes.
They're at the top of the slope, and I mean, I'm not,
I'm willing to work with, I mean, if you say, hey, I'll take a.
That's the area.
Yeah, so they have
That's
to come in
the
from the
slope.
top.
Yeah, but those, it's only those red twig dogwoods?
And
Yes,
trees.
I can take those
There's-
right now.
But that's not a big issue. If they were big, huge, mature trees, that'd be one thing, but even if they were,
the point is though that they're supposed to enhance the wetland, and if they're not in wetland soils or close to a wetland soil, then they're not exactly doing the buffer job that they were intended to do.
the ones that, well, let's say the ones that he has to move should be relocated in the right spot.
Okay.
He's got to take them
At the
out.
bottom.
At the bottom of the hill, right, to plant, I've been landscaping. There's nothing but stone, there's rock, so there's nothing there to plant. There's nothing, nothing to hold unless I add soil. But if I add soil, then I'm going into the wetlands. Right?
So let's just say that the wetlands line, in this particular situation, since those plants, the plants, Mary, are not in the wetlands, right? They're on the.
They're on the slope.
Right.
And then instead of being.
Okay, so you don't have to go into the wetlands with these plants, but they want to be on the buffer. Once you take some of that back.
Okay.
And you plant it on the.
If you need to take a bucket of rocky dirt out and replace outside of the wetlands and put topsoil to plant that bush,
Yes.
that's a planting process. That's a planting process.
That's fine. I can take the plants out, put them to the side, do the 3-to-1 back dragging.
Right.
And then right at the edge where the new soil is, I'll plant all the thing without disturbing anything in the wetlands. So I'm giving the wetlands a little more property back.
Right, well, it's more of, we're not, wherever the toe of the slope is now, we're not worried about moving anything, it's the slope.
Okay?
3-to-1 so that it's not gonna erode down.
And then do my thing on my side.
Yes, so any plantings that you're gonna take out or have to move out of the way of doing that process, just put those back where they're supposed to go, the other ones can stay.
You got it.
That's me talking.
So this side is fine, but
Yeah, that's,
It would be
Right
worse,
here.
you're right.
yeah, and within, and again, once you get past 25 feet, I don't care about that, meaning like, if you did a
In the
ring.
back end, right.
Yeah, well, really what's ever touching it, I mean, in this picture, it looks like it's right to the edge, the fill
yeah, it is.
of the wetlands. So anywhere within 25 feet, the 3-to-1 slope. Right? Sound good?
And a plan to stabilize the slope too?
Everybody else?
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah, and I'm seeing the slope.
Yeah.
So it'll be on hopefully the agenda for the next meeting? The modification?
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah.
This was just discussion, right? So.
Guess what? That here.
Okay.
For the next meeting, we get a revised plan that shows that.
Send you an email with the details too, if you.
Okay.
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay. We are at Park, 283 Cutler's Farm Road, discussion of possible modification.
That's going to be tabled. They're going to come in the next meeting.
Thank God.
Nicest thing you said, Cheryl.
Be interesting anyways.
Sorry.
Minutes. Okay.
Oh,
March 8th or March 22nd?
March 8th, March 22nd.
You want to review them and then act on them next week or next meeting?
Okay.
Minutes table to next table. Regulation Amendment Committee,
No, thanks.
Public Outreach Committee. Discussion of only having one meeting.
You've already discussed that, so
So is that
take that
a
off.
yay or a nay?
Well, So for a minute, okay? I think we went back because no one really recorded, I think, what we agreed upon like a year and a half ago.
Right.
It was no new business and not, but it was, I agreed that, I have my wrong recollection. If a hearing needs to be continued, use the meeting.
Yeah, like tonight.
But like, someone can't, we won't do hearing determinations, we won't do new hearings,
Unfinished business.
just unfinished business from the first meeting of the month. Or for some reason,
Something
we have a meeting on the first.
Or something special comes
So
up.
no new business at the second meeting.
Yes, no new business. It's all light. It's really a light agenda. We're coming in to get some things done. So, it's not another 4 weeks for
And no pressing unless it's pressing for violations, we don't talk about that.
Yeah, exactly.
anything new.
Everyone slides that year.
I didn't even tell you about the agent approvals either. It's like,
And then if we determine that, like today, we decided that we need to do 417, right? And so we have to have that meeting. But if 417 didn't have to be back in 2 weeks,
We could have only given them a month.
that's what I was trying to say, but.
You wanted to get them done tonight.
Well, I didn't know if we had a right to push it off, but now apparently they agreed. I didn't know that. No one mentioned that to me after I've been talking about it for 10 minutes. And then, like, all right, we're good.
I think it's better to not let that linger.
Give them a month and not meet later in the
Do
month?
we have statutory, we have time to give them a month?
We can ask them if they're,
I'm telling you, wetlands is different than zoning. Automatic approvals on
Yeah, don't-
subdivision site plans. It's not automatic for wetlands. They can go to court and get a mandamus.
first of all, they don't want
an
to,
extension for the extra 2 weeks.
let's ask them because they also
And if
said
they
they're
say
not
yes.
going to, do they have to go to P and Z after us for this?
No.
Okay, they also said they're
just
not doing it
ask
until,
them.
they're not doing it until the thing dries up.
Ask.
Right.
So we're not gonna, we're not gonna throw them off by 2 weeks. It's
Yeah,
wet season.
there you go.
All right, you may not have a meeting then.
Motion to
Yeah,
adjourn.
well, again, if they're cool with it.
Seconded.
So,
what, leave your 1380 stuff. If you want to see that again, I don't want to make more copies. So if you want to leave your 1380 plans or any of your violation pictures and stuff like that, I will recycle them for another meeting. So
Yeah.
leave them,
okay,
please.
so
You want them for all or just the
hold
1380?
on to them till the next, just.
If you think you're going to lose them, you're going to check them, leave them for me so I don't have to make more copies next time.
Okay. All right, good night, Joe. Good night, Sarah.
Okay, so, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
We got a motion from Commissioner Hall, second.
Second.
Second from Commissioner Stewart, all in favor? Aye. This meeting is over at 9:33 PM.